My mom called me her reliable daughter, but I was just her maid, cleaning, cooking, keeping her perfect life intact. When a crash left me in a coma, she didn't even show up. She told my dad I had a flu while I was hooked to machines, but I woke up, and I found a truth that shattered their lies. Watch till the end to see how I made them pay for betraying me. Before starting this story, if you are listening from USA, please leave a comment with number 9. And if you are from another country, please leave the name of your lovely country. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to listen to more stories. Winter in Seattle wraps you up like a damp, gray blanket. The rain doesn't fall so much as it hovers, a constant drizzle that clings to your skin and sneaks into your bones. It's early January, 2025, and I'm dragging myself out of Beacon Hill Medical Center after a brutal 12-hour shift in the emergency room. My name's Evelyn Harper, a 28-year-old nurse who spent the last 5 years stitching up wounds, calming panicked patients, and pretending I don't feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. My sneakers squish against the wet pavement as I head for the bus stop, the neon glow of the hospital sign fading behind me. My hands are still trembling from the adrenaline of a night spent saving lives, but my heart, it's heavy with something else entirely. I pull my scarf tighter, trying to block out the chill as I board the near-empty bus to Capitol Hill, where my tiny one-bedroom apartment waits. It's not much a creaky twin bed, a second-hand couch, a fridge that hums too loud, but it's mine. I keep it spotless, every surface scrubbed, every dish stacked just so. Maybe it's because I grew up in a house where chaos was king, where my mom, Lillian Voss, left dishes piled in the sink and my younger sister, Serena, scattered her designer clothes like confetti. Back at their place in Queen Anne, I was the one who cleaned up, paid the electric bill, cooked dinner when Lillian was too busy complaining about her socialite friends. Nobody asked me to, but if I didn't, it'd all fall apart, and I'm not about to let that happen. The bus lurches along Aurora Avenue, the city lights smearing into streaks through the fogged-up window. My phone buzzes in my coat pocket, and I already know who it is before I check. Lillian. Her text lights up the screen like a slap in the face. Evie, don't forget dinner this weekend at the house. Serena's new boyfriend is coming. Make it fancy, none of that cheap crap you usually pull. Get some organic red wine and those lilies Serena likes. I stare at the words, my jaw tightening so hard it aches. No, please. No, how's your shift? Just orders, like I'm her damn maid. I can picture her now, lounging in some overpriced spa in Bellevue, sipping a mimosa while Serena gets her nails done. My fingers hover over the keyboard, itching to type back something sharp, something like, "Why don't you lift a finger for once, but I don't. I never do." Instead, I reply, "Got it. I'll handle it, because that's who I am, reliable Evie, the one who always says yes." Back at my apartment, I kick off my wet sneakers and collapse onto the couch. The springs groaning under me. The fridge door still holds a few faded postcards from my dad, Nathan Harper. He's a big-shot executive, always jetting off to Denver or Chicago for some high-stakes deal. But no matter where he is, he calls or sends a card, asking about my patients, my dreams, my life. When I ditched business school to become a nurse, Lillian called it a waste of potential. Serena just laughed, saying, "You're gonna spend your life wiping up puke gross." But Dad, he sent me a card from Tokyo with a single line, "I'm proud of you. Evie, you're saving lives." That card's still pinned to my fridge, its edges curling, but it's the only thing that keeps me from screaming sometimes. My phone rings, snapping me out of my thoughts. It's Lillian again, her voice dripping with that fake sweet tone she uses when she wants something. "Evie, you got my text about the dinner." "Right. Serena's boyfriend is some hotshot architect, so don't screw this up. Make those salmon canapes Serena loves, and for God's sake, swap out that tacky tablecloth. It looks like something from a thrift store." I grip the phone so tight my knuckles turn white. "Aren't you at a spa or something?" I ask, my voice steady but burning inside. "Yeah, but we're back Saturday morning," she says, like it's no big deal. "You're a nurse, Evie. This ain't rocket science. Just get it done." The line goes dead, and I'm left staring at the wall, my chest tight with a rage I can't name. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I let them treat me like I'm invisible? I sink deeper into the couch, the rain tapping against the window like it's trying to get in. My whole life, I've been the one holding it together, cooking, cleaning, paying bills, keeping the peace while Lillian and Serena waltz through like they're starring in some glamorous movie. And me, I'm just the extra. The one nobody notices until they need something. Dad's the only one who sees me, but he's 1,000 miles away. And I'm stuck here, drowning in their demands. How long can I keep swallowing this crap? How long before I snap? Something's gotta give. And deep down, I know it's gonna be me. A week later, the Seattle rain hadn't let up, turning the streets into a slick, gray mirror of the sky. It was mid-January 2025, and I, Evelyn Harper, was knee-deep in chaos at my mom's house in Queen Anne, prepping a dinner I wouldn't even get to sit down for. The kitchen smelled of roasted salmon and fresh dill, but my hands were raw from scrubbing pots, and sweat plastered my hair to my neck. Lillian Voss, my mother, had made it clear this meal had to impress Serena's new boyfriend, some architect with a taste for Insta-worthy perfection. I'd spent half my paycheck on organic wine and lilies, just like they demanded, but the knot in my stomach told me it wouldn't be enough. It never was. I arranged the salmon canapes on a platter, careful to avoid onions. Serena's boyfriend was slightly allergic, according to her last-minute text. The dining room table gleamed under a new linen cloth I'd bought to replace the tacky one Lillian hated. Every detail was perfect, but my chest burned with a rage I couldn't shake. Why was I doing this? Why was I breaking my back for people who treated me like a hired hand? The doorbell rang, and Serena swept in, her designer heels clicking on the hardwood. She barely glanced at the table before wrinkling her nose. God, Evie, this looks so basic. Couldn't you make it Pop Derek's used to? Like, Michelin star vibes? I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. You didn't mention that, I said, keeping my voice steady. Serena rolled her eyes. Whatever, just don't embarrass me tonight, okay? Lillian followed, her perfume choking the air. She scanned the room like a health inspector, then sighed. It's fine, I guess. But those lilies look wilted. You couldn't find fresher ones. My hands clenched behind my back. They're from the best florist in Capitol Hill, I said, each word a battle to stay calm. Lillian waved me off. Well, clean up the kitchen before Derek arrives. It's a mess. A mess I'd scrubbed every inch of that kitchen until it sparkled. I wanted to scream, to hurl the wine bottle at the wall and watch it shatter, but I didn't. I just nodded and turned back to the sink, my heart pounding like it was trying to break free. Dinner dragged on, a blur of Serena's giggles and Lillian's fake charm. Derek, all slick hair and smug smiles, praised the food but didn't look at me once. I cleared plates, refilled glasses, and listened to their chatter from the kitchen, my hands trembling as I washed dishes. Evie's such a trooper, Lillian said at one point, her voice dripping with condescension. She's got that nurse thing down, so this stuff's no big deal for her. No big deal I'd worked a 12-hour shift, spent hours prepping their damn dinner, and they couldn't even say thank you. By the time they left for drinks at some trendy bar, I was alone in the house, the silence louder than their laughter. I locked up, grabbed my coat, and headed out into the rain, my rage boiling over. I was done being their doormat. It was close to midnight when I crossed Aurora Avenue, 4 miles from my apartment. The rain stung my face, and my sneakers were soaked through. I was so lost in my anger replaying Serena's snide comments. Lillian's dismissive sighs that I didn't see the truck barreling toward me. Headlights flashed, brakes screeched, and then the world exploded in pain. My body hit the pavement, the cold asphalt biting into my skin. Everything went black. When I came to, I wasn't sure I was alive. A dull beep filled my ears, and my body felt like it was made of broken glass. I was in Beacon Hill Medical Center, hooked up to machines, my face swollen, blood crusted on my cheek. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, but I could hear. Nora Bailey, my coworker and the closest thing I had to a friend, sat by my bed, her voice soft but urgent. Evie, you're in a coma, but you're fighting. Don't give up. Okay. Her hand squeezed mine, warm against my cold skin. I wanted to cry, to tell her I was still here, but I was trapped in my own body, drowning in pain and fury. Nora called Lillian, her voice tight with anger. Mrs. Voss, Evelyn's been in a serious accident. She's in critical condition. You need to come now. Lillian's response, crackling through the phone, hit me like a slap. Evie's tough. She'll pull through. Don't make a fuss. I'm taking Serena to a photo shoot tomorrow. She's got a big deal lined up. Nora's silence was deafening. She's in a coma, Nora said, her voice shaking. She might not make it. Lillian sighed, like I was an inconvenience. I'll swing by later. Serena's got enough on her plate. The call ended, and Nora whispered, I'm so sorry. Evie. Then came Serena's text, read aloud by a nurse. Don't die. Okay, I need you to help with my portfolio next week. I couldn't scream, but inside, I was roaring. They didn't care if I lived or died. I was just their errand girl, their invisible fixer. My chest burned with a rage so fierce it felt like it could shatter the machines around me. Had they ever cared about me, or was I just their damn maid? As the hours blurred, Nora stayed, her presence the only thing keeping me tethered to life. But deep down, I knew if I survived this, nothing would ever be the same. 10 days after the truck slammed into me on Aurora Avenue, I woke up in Beacon Hill Medical Center, my body a map of bruises and stitches. It was late January 2025, and the Seattle rain drummed against the hospital window like it was mourning my life. I lay there, surrounded by the sterile hum of machines, my throat raw from the ventilator they'd just removed. Every breath felt like swallowing glass, but the pain in my chest wasn't just from broken ribs. It was rage, pure and molten, burning through me like wildfire. Lillian Voss, my mother, and my sister Serena had left me to die, too busy with photo shoots and spa days to care. And my dad, Nathan Harper. They'd lied to him, told him I had a mild flu while I was fighting for my life. I gripped the hospital bed's railing, my knuckles white. They thought they could bury me in their lies, but I wasn't done yet. Nora Bailey, my coworker and lifeline, sat beside me, her eyes red from sleepless nights. Evie, you're awake, she whispered, her voice cracking with relief. I tried to speak, but my lips barely moved. Where's Dad? I croaked, each word a struggle. Nora's face fell. Lillian told him you had a flu. She said you were fine, just resting at home. My heart lurched. Nathan, the one person who'd always believed in me, was 1,000 miles away in Denver, thinking I was sipping soup in my apartment. They let me rot here, I rasped, my voice shaking with fury. While they partied, Nora hesitated, then nodded. Lillian hasn't called back. Serena, she texted about her portfolio. The memory of that text. Don't die. Okay, I need you to help with my portfolio next week. Hit me like a punch. I wanted to scream, to tear the IV from my arm and storm out, but my body betrayed me, too weak to move. Nora leaned closer, her hand on mine. What do you need? Evie, tell me. I stared at the ceiling, the fluorescent lights blurring through tears I refused to let fall. Get me to Lillian's house, I said, my voice low and hard. I need papers. It was a lie. I didn't care about papers. Something deeper, a gut instinct, told me the truth was waiting there, hidden in the house where I'd been invisible for years. Nora frowned but didn't argue. You're barely stable, she said. But if you're sure, I'll take you tomorrow. Rest now. I nodded, but rest was impossible. My mind was a storm, replaying every slight, every dismissal, every time Lillian and Serena treated me like their maid. This wasn't just about the accident. It was about 28 years of lies. The next evening, Nora helped me into a wheelchair, my body screaming with every movement. We drove through Seattle's rain-slicked streets to Queen Anne, the city lights smearing like my resolve. Lillian's house loomed ahead, its perfect facade hiding a rotting core. Nora parked, and I used my old key to slip in through the back door, the lock unchanged despite my near death. The house was dark, but voices drifted from the living room. I signaled Nora to wait, then wheeled myself closer, my heart pounding so loud I feared they'd hear it. Lillian's voice, sharp and smug, cut through the air. Nathan's clueless. Marcus, he thinks Serena's his kid, but you know the truth. If he finds out, we're screwed. Marcus Reed, my dad's old colleague, laughed softly. You've kept this up for 20 years. Lil, why panic now? My breath caught, my hands trembling on the wheelchair's arms. Serena wasn't Nathan's daughter. I pulled out my phone, my fingers shaking as I hit record. Lillian went on, oblivious. Evie's too loyal to Snoop. She bought the flu story, and Nathan's stuck in Denver. We're fine as long as they don't talk. Marcus clinked a wine glass. To secrets. Then, I stopped the recording, my rage so fierce it drowned out the pain in my ribs. They'd built their lives on a lie, and I'd paid the price. I wheeled back to Nora, who drove me to her apartment, where I collapsed on her couch, my mind racing. I need more, I told her. Proof. Nora nodded, her jaw tight. Whatever it takes, Evie. Over the next 3 days, Nora helped me dig. I hacked into Lillian's laptop using an old password she'd never changed to Serena Star. Of course, her emails to Marcus laid it all bare a 20-year affair, fear of Nathan finding out, and Serena's true paternity. One email read, if Nathan learns Serena's yours, Marcus, he'll cut us off. Keep your mouth shut. I printed every damning word, my hands shaking with fury. Then, with Nora's help, I collected a strand of Serena's hair from a brush left at the house and a used tissue from Nathan's last visit, stored in my apartment. We sent them to a lab in Portland. 3 days later, the results came paternity probability 0%. Serena wasn't my dad's daughter. The truth wasn't a shock, it was a blade, cutting through every lie I'd swallowed. I sat at Nora's kitchen table. The evidence spread before me, the audio, the emails, the DNA results. My hands trembled as I wrote a letter to Nathan, each word carved from years of pain. Dad, I almost died 10 days ago, and Lillian lied to you. She said I had a flu while I was in a coma. She's been lying for 20 years, not just about me, but about Serena. She's not your daughter. Here's the truth they buried. I'm sorry you have to learn it this way, but I can't carry their lies anymore. I sealed the letter, the audio file, emails, and DNA results in an envelope, my heart pounding with a mix of dread and resolve. Nora drove me to the post office, where I sent it via same-day express to Nathan's office in Denver. As I signed the delivery slip, I whispered, "This ends now." They'd tried to erase me, but I was about to burn their world to the ground. 2 weeks after I sent the letter that tore my family's lies apart, the Seattle rain finally eased, leaving a brittle February chill in its wake. It was early 2025, and I, Evelyn Harper, was still recovering at Nora Bailey's apartment, my body healing slower than my resolve. The envelope I'd mailed to my dad, Nathan Harper, in Denver, had done its work, exposing Lillian Voss's 20-year affair and the truth about Serena's paternity. I didn't need to lift another finger. The consequences were rolling in like a storm, and I felt no urge to shield anyone from it. They'd left me to die in a hospital bed. Now they could face the wreckage of their own making. I sat on Nora's couch, a blanket over my knees, watching the city lights flicker through the window, my heart a strange mix of relief and quiet sorrow. Nathan received my package on a cold Tuesday afternoon at his Denver office. Nora told me later, piecing it together from a call with his assistant, that he'd locked his door and sat for hours, reading my letter, listening to the audio of Lillian and Marcus Reed, scanning the emails, and staring at the DNA results that proved Serena wasn't his daughter. His face, she said, went gray, like the life had drained out of him. By evening, he booked a red-eye flight to Seattle, landing at dawn. He didn't call Lillian or Serena. He just drove straight to the Queen Anne house, the place I'd once called home, carrying a leather briefcase and a look that said he was done with lies. Lillian opened the door, her silk robe slipping off one shoulder, a glass of Chardonnay in hand. "Nathan? What the hell? You're supposed to be in Denver till next week," she said, her voice sharp with annoyance. Nathan stepped inside, his shoes leaving wet prints on the hardwood. Serena was sprawled on the living room couch, scrolling on her phone, her face lighting up until she saw his expression. "Dad, what's wrong?" she asked, sitting up. Nathan set his briefcase on the coffee table, his hands steady but his eyes burning. "I got Evie's letter," he said, his voice low and hard. "I know everything. The affair with Marcus, the lies about Evie's accident. And Serena, you're not my daughter." Lillian's glass slipped, shattering on the floor, wine pooling like blood. Serena froze, her phone clattering to the couch. What she whispered, her voice breaking. Lillian tried to recover, her words tumbling out in a desperate rush. "Nathan, I screwed up. Okay, but we can fix this. Don't throw away 25 years over a mistake." Nathan cut her off, pulling divorce papers from his briefcase. "A mistake. You let my daughter lie in a coma and told me she had a flu. You've been lying about Serena for 20 years. This isn't a mistake, it's a betrayal." Serena sobbed, her hands covering her face. "You're still my dad. Right. Please, tell me you are." Nathan's gaze softened, but only for a moment. "I raised you, Serena. I loved you, but I can't live with this lie anymore. I'm done." He slid the papers toward Lillian. "My lawyer will call Monday. You're out of the house by next month." He turned and walked out, the door slamming behind him, leaving Lillian and Serena in the ruins of their perfect facade. Nora got the news from a mutual friend who lived near Queen Anne. Within days, Lillian and Serena were ordered to vacate the house under a court ruling. They packed in silence, neighbors whispering behind curtains as movers hauled their designer furniture to a cramped apartment in Renton. Lillian, who'd never worked a day in her life, took a job at a boutique in downtown Seattle, selling handbags to women she once brunched with. The pay barely covered rent, let alone her old lifestyle. Serena, desperate for answers, tracked down Marcus Reed, confronting him at his office. "You're my father," she pleaded, clutching the DNA results. Marcus stepped back, his face cold. "You're a mistake. Serena, don't call me father. Don't call me at all." She stood there, shattered, the princess crown she'd worn her whole life now dust. Marcus didn't stick around either. His wife found out about the affair, and he fled Seattle, leaving Lillian a curt text. "It's over. Don't contact me." Their secret apartment was repossessed, the bank account frozen in a divorce suit. Lillian and Serena were left with nothing but each other. Two women who'd built their lives on lies now forced to face the truth. Nora told me all this over coffee one morning, her voice quiet but firm. They got what they deserved. "Evie," she said. I nodded, staring into my mug. I didn't feel joy or vengeance, just a hollow calm. They'd tried to erase me, but their own choices had undone them. I'd spent 28 years carrying their weight. Now, I was free to let it go. 3 months after I sent the letter that shattered my family's lies, Seattle's spring arrived, soft and fleeting, with cherry blossoms dusting the streets like pink snow. It was April, 2025, and I, Evelyn Harper, had left the shadows of my past behind. My dad, Nathan Harper, and I moved into a cozy apartment in Ballard, a 10-minute drive from Beacon Hill Medical Center, where I'd returned to work. The apartment wasn't grand, no marble counters or chandeliers like Lillian Voss's old Queen Anne house, but it was ours, filled with warmth and truth. We painted the walls a soft ivory, hung photos of my nursing school graduation, and built a bookshelf for my medical journals. For the first time in 28 years, I felt like I belonged somewhere. Nathan turned down a promotion in Denver to stay close, taking a consulting role in Seattle. Jobs come and go. "Evie," he said one evening, stirring soup in our tiny kitchen, "you're my family. That's what lasts." His words wrapped around me like a blanket, soothing the ache of a lifetime spent chasing approval from people who never cared. I smiled, setting bowls on the table. "I'm not used to you cooking, Dad," he chuckled, learning from scratch. "Kid, gotta keep up with you." We ate in quiet contentment, no phones buzzing, no demands hanging over us. It was simple, but it was real. Nora Bailey dropped by every weekend, her homemade scones filling the air with buttery warmth. Other coworkers joined us. Lila, the tough-talking ER nurse who'd once scared me silly, now brought daisies from her garden. Marcus, the anesthesiologist who hid his love for jazz behind a gruff exterior. Our apartment became a haven, alive with laughter and stories. A family forged not by blood, but by choice. On Easter Sunday, we hosted a small gathering. Nathan raised a glass of sparkling cider, his voice steady. "I thought I had a family once," he said, looking at me. "Then I nearly lost the one person who mattered. Thank you, Evie, for showing me what family really means. People who show up, no matter what." I clinked my glass against his. "To real family," I echoed, my heart full. One morning, as I checked the mail, I found an envelope with Lillian's slanted handwriting. No return address, just my name. My stomach twisted, but not with fear, only resolve. Inside was a letter, her words dripping with fake remorse. "Evie, I messed up. Let's talk. We're still family." I stared at it, the old anger flickering but fading fast. She'd left me to die, lied about my dad, built her life on deceit. She wasn't my family anymore. I dropped the letter in the trash, the lid snapping shut like a door on my past. Nathan saw me do it, his eyes gentle. "Need a new bookshelf for your journals?" he asked. I grinned. "Nah, just a frame for the people who stayed." That night, I stood on our balcony, the Puget Sound glittering under the stars. I used to think family was a chain you couldn't break, a debt you paid with your soul. Now I knew better. Lillian and Serena Voss were gone, their lies exposed, their lives unraveled by their own hands. I'd lost the illusion of family, but I'd gained something better: freedom to be myself, loved for who I was, not what I did. Evelyn Harper's story teaches us a powerful lesson. True family isn't defined by blood, but by those who stand by you through life's darkest moments. In a world quick to demand loyalty, her journey reminds us to value ourselves, to break free from toxic ties, and to choose relationships that uplift rather than diminish. Betrayal stings, but it can also spark the courage to reclaim your worth. This story is a work of fiction created for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to attack or defame any individual, family, or organization. Any resemblance to real persons or events is purely coincidental. If this story moved you or sparked a thought, please let us know by commenting below. Your likes, shares, and subscriptions help us create more stories that inspire and entertain. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching and being part of our community.